Hello, YouTube! Yay! Alright, shitty intro is pretty shitty, so let's try again. Hey guys, how's it going? So this video here is going to be in a different direction right now than what you're normally used to. I'm going to be showcasing my very first interview. This video is going to dive a little bit more into who I am as a person and a lot of my personal thoughts on, politics and everyday life and things that are going on in the world right now. This is my interview by Vedant Media and a young man named Amar. Now, because of the length of the video, my interview is roughly about 40-45 minutes, so I'm going to split this video in two parts. Part 1 and Part 2. Obviously. Get ready, get some popcorn or a beer or something, and just chill and get to know a little bit more about me. So I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I actually had some earpods that came with my phone, earpods, and I tried that out and it worked fine. So
Cool.
So if it works, then I guess
You're not how I imagined you sounding, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing or anything like that. It's just not what I assumed you would sound like.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, I've never really done any of these interview things before, so this is kind of my first time doing it, so...
Right. So, yeah, let's get started. I'm just by, watching your videos, I'd say I'm like a pretty big fan. You're among like the top 10 YouTubers I watch, and I don't watch like too many,
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I hope to, one day, start, a channel myself, but, just, it would require a lot more time than I have and a lot more dedication than I have. So.
Yeah. On my side, I've actually felt that with making my own videos. Like, I have to juggle a lot. I have 2 jobs, somewhat of a social life, a boyfriend that I have to, cater to as well and spend time with,
Right.
And then try and make decent content for my videos, because, there's fillers, but I don't want to be just fillers,
Right, of course.
Word of warning, I am getting over a cold, so if I do sound a little bit nasally, that's the reason why. This isn't my...
It's all good.
This isn't my regular voice, but,
I'm currently dealing with a sore throat as well, so...
Yeah, I think it's going around.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what got you started at YouTube? Sorry, just to jump in.
Yeah, no, this is totally fine. Yeah, I don't know. I think basically it was kind of... it was always on the back burner of my mind in order to do it. Like, I should do something. I should say something. I got inspired a lot by my roommate because he kept pushing me, saying that I have the personality for it and I have a lot of things to say. So a lot of it was him basically kind of finally pushing me over the edge. The purpose behind my videos, I think, is basically because, in appearance, I am a white male, and a lot of people are against white males, and a lot of our opinions and the things that we experience are just, pushed aside or completely ignored. And so I felt the need to have a voice to say the things that I want to say. And it also helps that I'm actually a minority, at least in the LGBT community, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't see myself as a minority, but because of politics and, all that jazz, I am technically a minority. So having a minority that has an opinion that goes against the mainstream, and having other minorities such as myself see me like kind of making a stance against that, I think was necessary.
Wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah. I can't really relate to being a member of LGBT, but I can definitely relate to kind of struggling, being, just a male in society. And I
and
do
that too.
acknowledge, being an Indian, an Asian Indian, I do feel like I do have more privileges than, I mean, it's thrown around a lot on the internet, like, or not really thrown around. It is, I mean, that kind of sheds it in a quite negative light, but it's true that, we, Asian Indians enjoy a lot more luxuries than a lot of other racial groups. So when people bring up, white people all the time, that they are they are the ones that are oppressing.
The bad guys, the monster under the bed, right?
Yeah, it really. I mean, sometimes I'm like, that's definitely that's far from the truth.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the way that I always counter that kind of argument, where it's like all white people are racist, all white people are oppressing, all white people are bad people. Well, I'm like, no, you're categorizing a whole demographic of people based on maybe one or two personal experiences that you've had. You can't really do that, because if you generalize that, then I could say, all black people are criminals based on one or two stealing a car, or just basing it on stereotypes of any type of person, any demographic, and any race. So, I mean, obviously we are all different. I'm not denying that there are certain bad people who are white, who are legitimate racists or crazy people, but, Asian Indians would probably have a few of those as well. Black people,
of course, definitely.
Like Native Americans, like any group of people have their crazy, so it's not just whites.
And if you see, I recently read an article where Indians actually from India tend to be the most racist out of all,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it's just, it's a very, the mindset that many have there is that, if you're the darker skinned you are, the more inferior you are. And that's actually, that's seriously perpetuated by society, where they're looked down upon. They're treated as total, like, human garbage. Human garbage.
Garbage human.
It's garbage human. Sorry.
Yeah, honing in on Anita Sarkeesian's words.
Right. Sorry, just one quick thing. Is this? Are you recording on your end?
I am. Yes. Is that okay?
Oh. Okay. No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that was happening because we just started.
I'm just using the iMac camera option. So when if I have your permission, I would like to post this on my YouTube. But what I'm gonna do is have my little video in the corner, and then your symbol just right there.
For sure. Yeah. That's totally fine.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah. So, what's kind of the general political stance in, your area, wherever you're currently at? Just curious.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to break this down in a larger scale, basically about Western Canada versus Eastern Canada. So Western Canada involves the British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan. A lot of it is the mountains and prairie provinces. Alberta especially has a more conservative point of view. We are the oil country of Canada. So we're business orientated. We are entrepreneuristic. Is that a word? Yes. Saskatchewan also is a prairie province, so they rely mostly on farming. So I think with this geographical location, we are hard workers. We're more family orientated, so therefore we're more traditionalistic. Whereas over in the eastern side of Canada, you see a lot of urban metropolises such as Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, which is in Quebec. Quebec is the French-speaking side of Canada. So you'll have more of the bilingual Canadians over there. And I find that they are more liberal, especially Toronto, with different cultures, experiencing new things, looking at things in a more personalized viewpoint instead of the family viewpoint. Because if you think about it, a lot of people who were born in the country, if you don't want to be stuck in the country or a small town, people will move to a bigger city. That's actually my case. I grew up in small towns I moved all over Alberta basically, but I grew up in small towns. And once I finished college in the small city where I live and where my parents live, I moved over to where I am now, which is Edmonton, Alberta. So I moved because I wanted something. I wanted to take care of my life. I wanted to pursue what I want. I was very liberal in college.
Okay.
Yeah, so my own political stance is that I grew up in a very open kind of environment. My parents never forced religion on me or anything like that. We weren't religious, but we had a lot of friends and neighbors who were. I grew up in a lot of kind of Christian valued demographics. So, but like I got turned away from the liberal side of things, the left side of politics, just because of where the progressive left was coming from, and I just saw a lot of, feminist rhetoric and ideology kind of crap, and the SJW whining, and I'm just like, I don't want to be associated with the liberals anymore because I find that they are more, they're just more self-indulging, they're more narcissistic versus conservatives. I'm sure there's obviously the conservative side. You can get your crazies over there as well. But again, I find that conservatives are more about the community and about everybody versus liberals, which say they're for everybody, but they're really about themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I do see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting. I'd always, I mean, seeing, Justin Trudeau's, his policy compared to, previous
government,
previous prime ministers like Stephen Harper. I mean, it was just, it was quite a shock for me.
I was one of those. I was in the camp of Stephen Harper haters. Like, I didn't like Stephen Harper, but it was interesting because I never really followed politics quite closely. So in all actuality, I only hated Harper because my friends hated Harper.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even look at his policies. I knew that he was conservative, and I just knew that conservative was rigid and traditionalist and totally against freedom of speech and rights of everybody and creative thought. So it was almost a herd mentality, right?
Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I could definitely, I can relate to that. While I didn't really identify with any political party growing up, I would always just think of, just from the community I was in and my parents, they voted for Obama, and so it was quite for me. I didn't really have much exposure to the more to the right.
Yeah, to the opposite side.
Yeah, and I think that's really toxic in some ways. Just.
Well, it can, because you're not being exposed to all sides or all parties. Right. And, of course, if you're only exposed to one thing, you're going to lean towards that one thing.
Right.
So.
And I found, I found it very confusing. Like, like a lot of, like, why is this, this way? And I always felt, just by others around me, whenever Obama made, whenever he'd talk with someone, or whenever he was in the news, it was always that was the talking to, like, everyone talking about Obama, like it wasn't anyone else, like.
Yeah, well, so. Do you know what it was too? Because when Obama was going up against Hillary, I actually supported Obama. I was like, this is good news for America, because it is in fact the first black American president. Now, ironically, he's actually not fully black. He's half white, half black, but everybody just calls him the first black president because of the color of his skin, his name, his origins, kind of stuff like that. So I actually applauded Obama in the beginning. I personally see him as an okay president. Like, you always have to take into account that every president that follows the old president has to pick up where the old president left off. So if you have a really rotten president who's done really shitty in politics, policies and all that junk, the new president kind of has to pick that up and try and fix that, or at least make it better, right? So I think he did okay. There's a few things that I think he failed on. The major one, I think, is the race relations, especially between black people and white people in America. So I'm not holding him personally responsible, but I am holding him as a factor as to where it is now in America. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, and going back to your point on, when you have a really shitty former president
Mm-hmm.
and the new president comes in and just, I mean, it always, whenever I hear, people say, oh my gosh, Obama was the best president, or,
And you're like, oh
Obama,
god.
like, he did no wrong. Like,
You're like,
I kind of like, really? And I honestly think someone like FDR or, with Hoover, the Great Depression happening and him doing like next to nothing to,
mm-hmm.
help, um, to me, just whatever I learned from, and, it's obviously politically skewed just, by the education system that we have
obviously.
in the
Mm-hmm.
West. Well, I still found, from whatever he did do, FDR, he seemed to be, for a Democrat, I thought he was, very. I mean, you can't really look at politics back in the 1940s, late 1930s now, and really like identify with a lot about it. But
Yeah.
yeah. So if when someone brings up that Obama is the model president, I tend to disagree, and like for out of Democrats, I wouldn't say that he's the model president.
I think a lot of it was a lot of people put a lot of hope into him because of the fact that he was the first black president. So he was going to bring out this whole new amount of change. Everything was going to be better because of this. In a sense, they were almost too reliant on his skin color versus what he can actually do as a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, another reason why I've kind of left the liberal side of politics to favor more conservative, because I found that as much as the liberals like to say that don't judge us by our skin color, don't judge us by our background, don't judge us, judge us on our merit and who we are as a person, not what we are as a person. But yet here they are celebrating people who are black when they do something good, or uplifting gay people simply for being gay. Like it's not an accomplishment in being these things. You were born this way, and you go about in life as best as you can. So I think they were relying too heavily on these kind of superficial things about a person instead of the things that person was talking about, their ideas, their talent, things that revolved more than what their skin color was.
Definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I never even thought about that. So
yeah, wow. Well, no, like if you pay attention, I paid attention a lot to I still have a lot of liberal friends. I'm surprised they haven't all cut me out, but when we talk about things, I listen to them, and a lot of them are like, oh, Black Lives Matter group is so great because they're black. I'm like, well, what makes them good? Like, what are they doing to help race relations? Well, they're fighting for black people because they're black. I'm like, okay, but that didn't answer my question. What are they actually doing? Like, what are their actions? Because in my sense, the actions I've been seeing from Black Lives Matter people is very segregation, harmful. They hate on white people openly, all on social medias. They've halted traffic. They've halted airports. They've attacked other minorities. Like the whole kerfuffle with which school was it where Milo?
Evergreen Valley. Like
Evergreen.
Yeah.
What they're doing, they're forcing white people out based on their skin color. And the Black Lives Matter groups who stomped onto the stage where Milo Yiannopoulos was having a talk, right? That one hoochie mama who was getting in his face and all that. Like, they think that they can get away with this simply because I'm black and I'm oppressed by the evil white man. It's like, no. Exactly. No, there's still etiquette that you should follow, especially in a surrounding or platform meant for open speech and maturity, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's I personally don't really think about it that much, and mm-hmm. Wow, that just really makes me, because I when I look at, um, politics, I tend to look at more of the, um, well, at least on whatever I see on YouTube, it's more about the gender disparity, or the so-called
So,
gender disparity, and I tend not to stumble across the race thing as I mean, with the whole evergreen college,
yeah,
that really grinded my gears, but
right.
yeah.
So what I'm getting from you is that you're more focused on the gender sex relations, so men versus women versus a racial thing. Is that correct?
And also a bit more to do with Islam, and
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
but I don't know if it's just because I mean I personally don't living. I don't know if it's just me, but here, even though I do live in an extremely left wing part of the country,
Mm-hmm.
I don't deal with I don't notice the racial disparity, or at least the acknowledgement of it,
Okay.
or and how it how toxic it is, um, and maybe that's just because of my society, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm just not aware of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, each one of us is different, right? So a lot of us will find things that we find interest in, right? So
Right, right.
with my stance, I obviously being a white male, you spoke about before about this perceived white oppression, right? So whether or not all white people are oppressing people of color in America and Canada, and the opposite side of that coin, where a lot of white people feel like they are being the ones that are being silenced, being oppressed, right? So you have groups such as the alt-right, the white nationalists popping up. Now in gender relations, you have the MGTOW, you have, anti-fems and fems and the SJWs and anti-SJWs. So you always lead towards things that interest you, and you'll probably see a lot more of what you're interested in the world around you. So if you're not really concerned about the race kind of thing, of course you're not really going to see it. Again, with me, I'm more concerned with whites versus blacks and the LGBT involvement in regards to our rights under our government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. I can definitely see the my interests, and how they play into what I tend to think about and what I tend to support.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Um,
don't feel bad if you don't keep up with the whole racist thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. All right. So I know it's kind of died down, or maybe I'm just not, in the loop. But kind of what's been your opinion on the recent, the Vidcon event with Anita Sarkeesian and
Yeah.
Sargon, and anything you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, so VidCon, it's essentially like a cosplay anime event. So we have Animathon, Anime North, cosplay. People can go and have fun. So these events are supposed to be fun, casual. You get to meet new people, see cool events, go to costume things and whatever. So I saw VidCon as another event such as this where people can go and find members of their community that they may have never, had the chance to see ever in real life. So in this case, it's YouTube, basically VidCon, and having people of different types of channels get to interact with each other. Now, in regards to the feminist panel with Anita Sarkeesian and the four other feminists, so it's very interesting that this was a panel in regards to the topic around how women are perceived on the internet and how women interact on the internet, and how they interact, or how the internet interacts with women. So obviously there was a few videos and articles that I saw, and obviously I made a video about it with Anita attacking Sargon, calling him a garbage human and a
Right.
shithead. So I just think that Anita Sarkeesian is a professional victim. She cannot tolerate other people criticizing her work, her ideas. I've seen some of her feminist frequency videos, and it's just like, no, you don't really know what you're talking about, because she even admitted herself that she's never been an avid game player. Like, she had to learn how to play games. We have video evidence about that. She probably denies that. A lot of her content is always attacking men, always suggesting that we live in a misogynistic world, and that games are reflective of how misogynistic the world is in regards to how women are represented in games. But like, there's tons of games out there. There's so many different platforms, so many different consoles. If you want to find a black, game player, a black female game player who's a badass, I'm sure you can find at least a dozen games. You just have to do your own research. You just have to go in, learn to play different games, meet new people. So I think her stance on the whole video game aspect is completely off. In regards to the VidCon itself, the video footage where she literally called Sargon of Akkad a garbage human and a shithead, she acted very unprofessional. Very unprofessional. I would think my video that I showcased it, if we replaced Sargon, a white male, with anybody else, a black woman, a gay man, an Asian Indian, and lay over what she said to him, it would still be unprofessional. So, like, she is being paid a lot of money to talk in an open platform. The patriarchy is definitely oppressing her there. Right? But, and then she has the gall to break code, break, ethics, really, to target a specific person in the audience. Now, she's trying to claim that he went there with a whole bunch of his followers and shitlords, sat up front in order to intimidate her. But this is just a scheme. Like, they always do this. They find every angle that they can to not be the oppressor in this case. So in this case, she's trying to make it out that Sargon was the one at fault here and not her. And I hate that. I hate that so much.
Yeah, I can definitely side with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't think we really differ in opinion with regards to that. So
it's just funny that she keeps playing the victim, right? And she says, like, I'm so weak and the patriarchy is out to get me and it's just a man's world. Says the woman who gets paid like thousands of dollars to talk at these platforms. She has her own website. She gets donations from people who follow her. She has a following. She also went to the United Nations, the women of the United Nations, to complain about people saying that she sucks and she's a loser. Like, she's at the fucking UN. How the hell are you powerless, woman? The thing with I call her Saint Anita, because she is Saint Anita and she can do no wrong. But she's essentially a hypocrite. Everything that she spews out is a fucking lie. And I can't stand people, regardless of their gender or their race, whatever. I can't stand people who are fake. And making a money out of it. Because that's why she's a professional victim. She's making a killing off of being a victim.
Right. And I don't know if she realizes it herself.
That's the debate, whether or not she's doing this on purpose or if she's completely oblivious. I think at one point she might have been in the beginning, but now I think she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.